All right, we are live here with Nolan and Cameron uh, for our first installment of the cheesy show called Jazz and Coffee. Jazz,
Cheers.
jazz, coffee.
Coffee.
So, guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Nolan,
Me?
Cameron.
I'm Nolan. I'm Cameron.
Wait,
And we play
I
jazz.
thought you were.
I'm Nolan. I'm Cameron.
Yeah, go ahead and be confused now. You figure that out. Now you have to go on wonderful world of the internet and figure out who's Nolan and who's Cameron. I'm not going to tell you.
Now you're invested.
But me and Nolan were the other day, right? Last week? No, 2 weeks ago.
We what?
We were talking about this.
Yes.
And we thought it'd be kind of fun to do a show about, roasting beans. And no, I'm just kidding. We're going to do kind of a coffee hang with these two guys. And talk about jazz. I don't see that as a big discussion like among like younger generation. I mean, I guess it's out there, but we don't hear about it as much as you hear about rock or pop and all these different other styles and different discussions about those styles. But I thought it'd be interesting to talk about it a little bit. Coming from my perspective as a non-jazz. Oh, hold on. Come on, Serge.
Get in there.
There we go. As a you can't have parentheses out here. You can't. It doesn't make any sense.
There's nothing going on.
Right here. They had to be right here. I'm not a big jazz guy. I like jazz. I wasn't brought up playing jazz. I can fake it for like 15 seconds. And then I start playing a shuffle beat or train beat. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, I'm not a big jazz guy, but these guys, I appreciate it a lot, and I understand, how important it is. But and I listen to it once a year. But these guys are like considered some of the younger jazz drummers or jazzers, like that.
No. Jazz cats.
Cats. You guys are
There
jazz
you go.
cats. There we go. Sorry, I'm not even hip with the terms.
Hip is a term, though.
Huh?
Hip is a term.
Hip is
Hip?
a jazz term.
Hip is a term? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good. Man, I'm so getting cooler.
You'll get there. Yeah.
Am I cooler now in the jazz?
Whoa,
Yeah,
dude, you look
I look
cooler.
more jazz?
That was crazy just
Okay,
now.
sweet, bro. Wait, it's not jazz. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, and these guys are more like jazz, known for their jazz drumming. So I thought I'd bring them in and talk about it a little bit. So kind of maybe start with you, Nolan, Cameron, and tell me like what you like, how you got into jazz and why jazz, and like kind of what you like about it and what drew you to jazz.
Yeah. Well, I got into jazz just because when I started high school, I wanted to play the drums, and I said yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, drumline.
Not everything for the kids out there.
Oh,
Say no to
not
drugs and
everything.
alcohol.
Not everything, but
Just want to
everything
make sure.
musically.
This
Yes.
is a kids channel.
Sorry.
Family show.
Yeah, I said yes to everything that I could. If I could play, I would want to do that. So drumline. I was playing with the guitar class.
Like
jazz.
sitting in as a drummer in the guitar class or playing guitar. No, I'm not.
Oh no,
trying to
I would play drums for the guitar class
okay.
and for the guitar shows, and I was in the marching band, in the concert band, in the pep band. Any chance I had to play drums, I said yes. So naturally, I wanted to do jazz just because I wanted to get better at playing the drums, and I think what really attracted me to jazz is just like the mastery. In the history behind it. I mean, if you're a good jazz player, it comes along with a kind of mastery of the instrument and like a really in-depth knowledge about how to play drums and who came before you. And I really like that.
Is that because? Do you think that's because? Sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No.
But is that because? Do you think that's because it's the roots of everything? It's the roots and the beginning of what we call modern music, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like history. I mean, I've always liked history classes and all that stuff, and jazz is really kind of like stepping into the past and it's really, really interesting, and really, really interesting to see how the greats did it before you, and to study that is something really cool.
Yeah, I've heard that too before. Like, if you want to learn, a specific, I guess you could say, specific lick or chop or style of playing, you have to go back to see where that thing, where those guys got inspired, or what they listened to get to really understand how they got to that point. What about you, Cameron?
Well, when I was in high school, I was playing pretty much kind of the same as Nolan. Did every musical thing I could possibly get into, and I got to a point where I was getting really dissatisfied with just kind of playing backbeats all the time.
And come on, there's nothing wrong with backbeats.
I still love backbeats.
Jeez.
I love.
I never said anything bad about jazz.
No. Hold on.
Man.
What I meant.
All right. Well, we're cutting this short because this guy's just totally rude to me and my backbeats.
Hold on. I love backbeats. What I meant by that was playing behind people.
Hold on. I love backbeats.
I do.
Sorry.
Playing behind people and being told you're not allowed to get musically involved with what's going on in the band, and so I wanted to start kind of branching out a little bit more musically and just kind of.
You mean like you felt like you were just kind of there as a metronome, so to speak?
Yeah, and it took me a while to realize that, you have to learn how to do that to play drums. But I just wanted to really, really dive into things that I saw other people doing. I heard the Bad Plus when I was in high school, and even though that's not really like a straight ahead jazz group, I heard the Bad Plus, and I was like, they can get away with doing that kind of stuff. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And they still play. And their drummer Dave King he does a lot of backbeat type stuff, but he was also getting really involved with what the rest of the ensemble was doing. So I really wanted to figure that stuff out, and just watching a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff, and it wasn't really listening to the music so much. It was just listening to the drummers that were playing and going, man, I really want to learn how to play that, or solo like that. So
that's cool.
That's kind of where it came from.
So there's drumming on YouTube, not just cat videos?
There is drumming on YouTube.
I'm being so informed right now.
There's like 99% of the videos on YouTube are cat videos. 1% are jazz drum.
You really gotta search for those jazz videos, because all I see are cats. It's awesome. That's how I start my day. Anyways, okay, here's another question. You guys are young. When you think of jazz, not when you think of, but primarily when you see like, you automatically think like, older, more mature, older players. You guys are, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I think that's like, you look up to the older guys. You look up to the guys that are seasoned and been around. You guys being your age, do you see that there's a difference between like being a younger jazz drummer, jazz player, and the older guys? Is it welcome? Because I'm not in the scene. I'm not a jazz cat.
Yeah.
I'm just a regular cat.
Cat.
Today's theme is cats.
Cat videos.
Yeah, lots. Jeez. But do you see like there's a difference between you guys? Is it a welcoming environment in the scene? Is it like, oh, you guys have to pay your dues and you play with a younger crowd of jazz players?
Yeah.
Or is it,
It's really, really welcoming. I mean, everyone in the jazz community is like just pro music, It's funny because if you're a young player and you can really swing, like, you could potentially get more gigs than the older guys because people are just excited about you.
Yeah, they kind of want to pass it down and be a part of your growth.
That's the cool thing about Sacramento is everyone's just pro music, and occasionally there's people that if you're not the greatest, they'll
send you vibes.
Yeah, they'll
call Cameron.
They'll let you know. Yeah, they'll call Cameron and send Nolan home, but Cameron.
Nolan.
But that's you need that too. I mean, you need people to tell you that you're not good too. I mean, you need people. You need people that are always going to push you, and that's the cool thing.
I tell you that every day when you're at work.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm doing.
Go home. You're not good enough.
I want you to, grow.
Yeah,
That's exactly why I tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, I know, like in Sacramento, there's a lot of open jam sessions where younger players can go out and play with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things that happens at those things is younger players come in and they just want to show off all the stuff they can play rather than working as a group and listening to the other musicians. And it takes a while for people to kind of understand that. And I know from personal experience, when I was like just getting into the scene, I was still like, I had just graduated high school and I started going to these jam sessions. It used to be at the Capitol Garage when they were doing it. And
I went to one of those.
really? Yeah.
Like in disguise, so no one would ever actually. No, heck no.
Oh man,
you crazy?
You gotta sit in.
I didn't sit in the first like couple
It's
times.
called Cantaloupe Island.
No, I don't know what that means.
It's back.
You'll get there. You'll get there. It's a backbeat.
Yeah, you're good. Kind of.
These guys are being mean to me.
Well, the first couple times like I went to play at these things, I was thinking, oh, jazz, I have to play all these notes and show off all the cool stuff because that's what jazz is about. It's about soloing and doing all this kind of stuff, and it's so much more than that. But used to get like, I'd play a tune and then the band leader would be like, all right, who's the next drummer going to play? And he'd be looking in the crowd for the next guy to get me off the drums,
Oh, because you're just blazing all over everything?
Yeah, and just time wasn't good. So, and then there was, and when you're that guy behind the kit playing with people and they're trying to get you out of there, you get bad vibes and it makes you want to go home and practice. And so it seems that a lot of younger people are kind of they steer away from jazz if they want to get into it, and then they find out what the work is involved. They don't want anything to do with it because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Do you feel like it's harder than other from the drumming side of things?
Yeah,
it's very harder. It's very, are you guys just saying that to boost your own egos?
No.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
way harder.
It's one of those kind of things that jazz is it's not just notes and rhythms. Like there's a lot of that, and you have to understand how to play the notes and rhythms, but you also have to understand the groove that's behind it. And you also have to understand it's very my girlfriend and I were talking about this the other day because she's a jazz bass player, and we were talking about just kind of a rhythm section thing, and the jazz is very conceptual, and you can't really analyze every single thing that goes on in the music. You have to listen to the big picture. So it can be very, very frustrating when you're at home listening to records and going to jam sessions and playing with people, and like, why am I not sounding good? And I played all the right notes and I played all the right rhythm. What's going on? And it's so much more than that. It's listening to everything that's going on and just having big ears, which is hard to develop.
Things. That's why you're good at jazz.
Solar panels.
Yeah, it's a hard music to get into if you don't understand that, I think.
Yeah, and it's a constant struggle. I mean, one night you'll be on fire and it's just grooving. And the next night you just get caught and you get way too caught up in, how can I sound cool? When Cameron's out in the crowd, I catch myself thinking more like, ooh, I want to play this lick.
I think that's for any style. But
right. Rather than, hey, what's the piano player doing?
Yeah.
Or like, let me lock in with the bassist real fast.
Yeah.
So it's a constant struggle. And I think that's what's hard about jazz. Not necessarily harder than other styles or whatever, but the thing about jazz is that it takes a long time, and there's so many aspects. Like, you can practice at home as much as you want to a metronome. You go to a jam, and it's just a whole different world. You have to practice almost as much with people as by yourself. And it's just like, there's no instant gratification whatsoever, and that's what steers people away because there's so much work involved that people don't see.
Yeah. Well, I think playing live in any setting, again, this goes back to this what I just said, but playing live with people, you learn, I don't want to say more than you do practicing or taking lessons, because those are all important things. It's like working out and having a strength coach and then going out on the field and playing football. Like, no amount of weights in the world are going to make you good at football. Playing football is going to make you good at football. Right. Even practicing moves and strategy and technique still won't make you good at football. You'll know what to do, but the pace in the environment that you're in, all different other elements, you only experience that when you're on the football field. Same thing with music. You won't really experience what it's like to to start a song or have an ending of a song, or go from verse to chorus until you're on stage doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So so same thing, and that's a really important thing, I think, for younger musicians to go out and experience that, whether they just go to a jam or whether they hang out with a friend and play. It's so vital. If you want to play music, it's jazz or rock or whatever it is. It's important to go out and experience it, and you'll actually end up falling in love with the music more. That's why I think that's another question I was going to ask you guys. Like, we get students all the time. They're like, "Oh, I want to learn jazz," and then you give them the homework that they need to do to kind of like go listen or go practice this and that, the technique element of it, and they kind of seem to, like, I don't know if you guys experience this, but seem to kind of fall off, right? I think, what do you think the reason for that is, and how do you think people can kind of tackle that, I guess you could say, past that threshold where they're like, okay, I get it now I want to do these things?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people assume that if you can play the notes and rhythms, if you can play the swing beat or something, you can play jazz. And a lot of it has to do with practicing off your instrument as well. If you're a drummer, you have to be away from your drums too to get good at jazz. So that includes a lot of ear training. You have to kind of sit with the piano. So if you're, for example, you're gonna play jazz, you need to learn tunes, right? It's just like playing. If you're gonna play rock drums, you have to learn tunes, or songs. And pop songs are structured. You got verse, chorus, bridge, all that kind of stuff. In jazz, you have forms, right? So we have a real standard form. You could be playing a blues or something, which is 12 bars and it's got different chord changes, or you can be playing like a 32-bar form, and that's going to have a whole different set of chord changes. And you have to read, and the form stays consistent when you're playing the tune. So how usually it works is you're playing with the band, you play through the melody of the tune. People take solos over these same chord changes, and then it repeats and everybody cycles through. But that form is the underlying thing, and it stays through. And one thing that happens a lot with drummers is they'll get lost in the form, and then it just gets all wonky. And so to kind of come to tackle that, you have to.
I just start playing 4 on the floor.
Yes, that works.
And bulldoze right through.
Yeah, wipe out. All that fun stuff.
Yeah, I would wipe out.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, man.
That's cool.
Don't do that.
So you have
to recommend that.
No, you have to be on the piano, trying to figure out chord changes of the tune, so, or at least get the chord changes in your head, so when you're playing, you can make sure you know exactly where you're at, because the band, believe it or not, relies on you quite a bit, because they get just as lost as drummers do, but you're kind of in charge of setting up where everything's at and stuff. So that's one thing. You have to do a lot of listening, and you have to do a lot of ear training, as well as a lot of time on your own instrument to get your mobility around the kit too, because you have to practice things that you might play 6 years down the line. Like, you have to really be constantly practicing things that you don't think you're ever going to have to use, because spur of the moment on a gig, or at a jam session, or just playing with people recreationally, you have to just be ready for anything that happens musically, because somebody a piano player might want to go in one direction, and then your bass player might want to go in another direction, and so you have to be able to follow
or
that.
like no one you'll want to play in one direction.
One Direction.
Okay. One day they'll call you.
They can groove.
They'll call you. You have the hair. Okay, okay, last thing. We're gonna wrap this up, because this guy has lessons to teach, but who teaches lessons at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
I mean, that's nuts. I've done.
It's fantastic,
but not anymore.
Great.
It's a good way to start the day, right? I mean, actually, it's not that bad. Like,
it'll wake you up.
It's like having a workout in the morning. Like, you're fresh, ready to go.
No,
I've taught a lesson at 7:30 before. That was fun.
Yeah, I have done one before.
Yeah,
early. I remember how early it was. Something like that, 7 or 8.
Too early.
Did a makeup lesson with someone. Yeah. Last thing that I wanted to, because we were talking about this dude's superly awesome hair. Do you think that the younger gen of jazz drummers, or I guess you could say jazz musicians, is there a hipness factor, or is it all just like I said, when you think of jazz, you think of older, mature players, or older generation of players.
Yeah, I think.
Do you think that there is a difference there, or is it like you kind of fall into the,
I think the younger players are starting to bring the style back.
Uh-huh.
Like the classiness to jazz. I think it's.
What do you mean back?
Well, I don't know. When I look through downbeats or any kind of like when I see.
What's downbeats? Just I know what it is.
So
but
like
people,
a downbeat is just a.
the folks out there.
A downbeat is just a jazz magazine basically. And when I look through that and I see all the people promoting their new albums, or like you see the photos they take in these magazines, and the older guys they just don't look cool, and it's just kind of, they took all the swag out of jazz. Back in the day it was like you were trying to outstyle the next guy. It was not only about your music, but it was about your image and how you looked and how you presented yourself before you even got on the stage. And I think yeah,
because back in the day they were the edgy side of
right.
Like
bebop,
jazz musicians originally they were the edge.
Yeah, bebop was like the new thing.
Yeah.
And it was radical. I mean, people were like, "Whoa, what is this?" Yeah,
I do the same thing. Then, whoa, turn that off.
Yeah,
right now.
it's like when people first heard bebop, they were like freaked out, and so it was like they were the hipsters back then.
Yeah.
And it was really friggin' cool.
Yeah.
Excuse my French, but it was really, really cool.
That wasn't French.
And that wasn't French. That was English. Excuse my English.
Swedish.
You're swaggish.
Yeah, but it was really, really cool back then, and I think through time it lost a lot of that coolness, and I think it's coming back now because a lot of the people that
you have a really cool new car and really sweet shoes.
No, a lot of the people that me and Cameron play with are like the next in line. They're the next guys, and they look cool when they play, and they are cool dudes. So it's coming back.
So jazz. Moral of this conversation is jazz is back.
Yes,
right here. Anyways, we're gonna wrap it up. You guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Cameron, Nolan. If you guys like what they're saying, follow them on whatever social media outlet you have, you use primarily. And I think we'll do this again. I think maybe next time if you have questions, you want to dig a little deeper into the jazz world, or if you're interested in jazz, but you're like, I don't know how to get in, or this and that. There is a comments area, and there's a way you can ask questions or interact, or actually log in and actually communicate with us, and we'll see you on your camera, and you can see us on ours. So this thing is not just for us to post on YouTube after the fact. I know it's kind of early, which is kind of an odd time to do it, but I mean, I think there's people that do get up before 10 o'clock.
They can, instead of watching their cartoons and having their Captain Crunch.
Yeah, because all those jazzers out there, that's what they do in the morning.
They don't wake up until 3.
And late gig, just gonna watch cartoons in the morning.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyways, yeah, we'll do this again. This kind of a jazz-themed conversation. These guys do play other stuff, and I don't actually hate jazz. I just want everyone to know it's a character. It's the jazz hating surge. No, I love all styles of music, especially jazz, because it's like the like I said earlier, it's the roots of everything. So, anyways, we're logging off, but we will see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.